Hey everyone, it's Dana here. If you are in our group, you get announcements over there to let you know to come over here. So if you're not in our group is facebook.com/groups/lovesolaflowers. And I always kind of warn people that we're going to come on here so no one misses any videos. But also another way is to make sure you're checking your notifications. Make sure you're following this page to make sure that you get notifications when we come on live. I know a lot of people keep saying they don't get notifications, and I don't know if it's a Facebook thing or if it's just because their own personal settings are not set right. But I do try to warn ahead of time in our community group, so if you aren't part of that and you seem to be missing videos, head over there. Okay. So hi Tracy, we are still having a 60% off sale, so it's up to 60% off regular Sola flowers. There is no code needed for this sale. It is limited time, but we do have a lot of sales going on, but they vary in percentages off, so you can always check the website and the banner will tell you what the sales are at the time. Hi Nancy, so tonight's actually not a very long tutorial, and it's not an actual full project, but it is something we get asked a lot, so I thought I might as well jump on. Hi Barb, and talk a little bit about spray painting flowers, because we do get this question a lot. And a lot of times it's related to curled flowers, because dipping curled flowers, I'll show you a sample if you're new to Sola. Caroline, thanks. So this is an example. Oh, let me turn my light down just a little smidgen because it's washing my white out. Okay, so this is an example of, a curled petaled flower. And when you dip dye these, they tend to uncurl because if it's super wet, the Sola is very flexible and can be shaped. So if you are fluffing a flower, that's good. But if it's a curled flower and you don't want the curl to come out, dip dyeing these is very difficult. So if you are going to dip dye, we suggest not using curled flowers, but I am going to show you a few things you can do if you're wanting to do that. And we're also going to show you how to spray paint flowers here. I will tip my camera over where I set up kind of a little board where I can spray paint and it not be all over my kitchen. So here's how we're going to start. So I've got this is called Aroma Rose. It is curled petals, and let me just show you. I have one that I already did. I just did the edges in gold, but just so you can see how it was spray painted and it's still curled. So I know the lighting now is weird where you can't really see it, but it is shimmery gold on the edges. And then I did another one where I did a couple layers. I did some blue and some silver and some sparkle. So I'm just going to show you, but again, just so you can see the samples I did earlier did not uncurl. Now, I do want to note that when you spray paint them, even using the system that I'm going to show you right now, they are a little crispier than if you were to dip dye them with glycerin, but they do still stay flexible. They're not super hard. So again, I'm going to show you a spray we use ahead of time, and that way it does stay still like this. Now, there are people before they spray paint who use a glycerin and water spritz to keep it soft. And if you're going to spray paint just regular flowers that aren't curled edges, that's fine to wet them all up and spray them with a glycerin spray and mix and everything. But when you have the curled petals, it kind of defeats the purpose of spray painting. So that's the thing is that, so yeah, it's a little harder than usual, but it's not totally crispy, again, because I'm going to show you a spray that I use first, and it'll make sense in a minute, but they are crispier than obviously if you're not using glycerin. So it's a little different. I wouldn't say to, do this for every single flower without glycerin, but we're talking about the curled edges flowers. So again, I did this one earlier, and as you can see, it's still flexible, but it's not as soft and squishy as if you use glycerin, of course. So if you do want to try spray painting flowers, just because it makes it very easy, and you can also get this look where you kind of just do the tips of it, then you can do water and glycerin spritz. before, Valerie. I would spray them with glycerin and water and then let them dry before you spray paint them, okay? So if you are not doing a curled edgy guy and you're wanting to do spray paint, you can spritz it with glycerin and water and then you let them dry. Once they're dry, you can do the spray paint thing that I'm about to show you right now. If you are doing something with a curled edge, I suggest not doing a water glycerin spritz because it is going to start to unravel like usual. So again, this is more for getting a look on something that is more of a difficult dipping kind of flower. Okay, so let me just show you how I do it. And I am gonna, like I said, turn my camera so it's gonna be just my hand in the video, but I can still read comments and see comments. But there is a spray we use to start and prep, and that spray is not so easy to find right now. So that's the other trick, because not all products are easy to find right now, but you can Google it and hopefully find some of it right now. But it is the best way to keep these guys softer and curled. So if you haven't seen it, we have talked about it. It's in our group, but I don't know if I did a video with it yet. But it is a Design Master spray. And I am gonna try some other, I'm gonna see if I can find some other brands, but this is the brand I'm using now. I am gonna look, like I said, around for maybe brands that are easier to find right now. But this is called Clear Pre-Treatment Sealer, okay? I'm gonna turn it around. It says quick drying, thin, flexible finish, and it really is. It's quick drying, very, very quick drying, and it is definitely flexible. So I'm gonna show you the can, but it's reverse in the camera. But even if you want to take a screenshot of it and then maybe flip it, but it's Design Master spray, and Design Master makes multiple products. So make sure you're getting the Clear Pre-Treatment Sealer. And you can use this if you spray it the way I'm going to show you on my curl flowers. You can use this before you do dipping. It does actually help keep the curl, even for dipping and even with glycerin. This stuff helps seal the curl. But it does sometimes affect the color a little bit depending on how many coats you do, and I would suggest about 3 coats if you're going to do a dip dyeing. Okay, so this is a magic product for that. Now I'm going to tilt my camera over. I've set up my little spray paint session here, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So actually, let me roll my sleeves up because I don't want it all over my clothes. So I'm just going to hold my flower. And I'm not going to get too close to it, but I'm going to do a quick breeze over it. Okay. And it really, really does quick dry. Okay, so I just did one little spritz around. Again, I don't need to spray like necessarily the whole entire flower because it's the edges that we're really needing here. I'm going to do it one more time. That's 2. Catherine, I'm not sure where it's listed. It's not one of like our products because it's not like a brand for Sola. It's actually, I think it's actually made for fresh flowers, but it's Design Master brand. Okay, so can you see it? Clear Pre-Treatment Sealer. Okay, I'm gonna do one more coat. And that's it, okay? Now again, oh, Valerie, you can dip dye with this. I suggest 3 coats if you're gonna dip dye. When you dip dye it, you just dip dye it like you would usually dip dye a flower. And it really does keep the curled edges. Johnny, I'm not sure, I got mine on Amazon. So again, I'm gonna do some research maybe on like similar products by a different brand, because sometimes this brand is hard to come by right now with how things are with shipping stuff and everything. But also, just so you know, this spray does work with the dip dye. I've had it affect a color sometimes, but in general, it works pretty well, okay? So we're good. And then I'm gonna do, let's just see, I'm gonna do a gold for this one, okay? I'm gonna spray it with gold. I'm gonna do the edges, so I'm not gonna try to spray paint all in there or anything like that. I'm just gonna do kind of the tips to make it gold. It'd be pretty for Valentine's Day or for anything you want, like little metallic touches. And so I did the pre-treatment, and now I've got spray paint. It doesn't really matter what brand you use of spray paint. I like Rust-Oleum, and I like their, what they call it, metallic, because it's very, very metallic. It says gold, bright, shiny finish, and I do like that kind of a finish. So I'm just using Rust-Oleum, but you don't have to use this brand specifically. Let me make sure you can see it. So I'm gonna just go around the edges. I'm just doing little spritz at a time because I don't want it to goop up. So I'm gonna just spin it as I go. And I'll show you. Again, I'm just doing little spritzes at a time because I don't want it to be like totally wet and drippy. But I'm gonna show you how cool and metallic this looks like. It looks like an actual, can you see it? Oh, sometimes the lighting, let me just turn off my light for 1 second to see if you can see it better. Can you see it better? Is that lighting okay actually without it, the light? But it looks like shiny 14 karat gold. Now again, you don't have to just do the ends. If I wasn't gonna do the ends, I'll do the whole thing just to show you. Then I'm gonna do this again. Can you see? I do little spritzes at a time. Now I didn't glue my stem in while I'm doing this because I like to lay it flat to dry. But you can keep this if you want to actually stem it so it doesn't fall off. So let me just show you if I wanted to do the whole thing. I kind of pull back the petals just a little bit and I do little squirts at a time. And it really does look, oh good. It really does look like a 14 karat gold like. And look at the edges. Look how well that stayed curled. Okay, and again, I don't just hose it down like that. I do spritz, 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 just to make sure I don't get goopy spots. So this little petal keeps wanting to come out, but I could always hot glue that shut if it's bothering me later. Okay. So I know the lighting's a little darker, but then you can see the color better that way. So here's the gold one, and then you just let it dry. But as you can see, the edges stayed, sealed and curled. I'm gonna do another one, and this time I'm gonna do like a color, not just gold, so you can see that as well. I'm gonna do a bird rose. Well, this one is beat up. That was my fault. Okay. So again, I'm just gonna stick my wire in my bird rose. Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming they're all pretty much called the same thing. It says a sealant, a clear sealant, and I would make sure it says flexible on it too. But I love the gold, and I love getting gold, and I know a lot of people have trouble dip dyeing gold. So again, let me just show you. And of course, you know, if I had gloves on, I could be peeling back all the petals and really get in there to make sure there's no white spots. But actually, I think I got pretty good coverage. I don't see any white spots. It goes all the way around. Okay, so I did pretty good actually. But if I had gloves on, I could peel back, you know, and get really in there. So I'm gonna do this one actually a bright blue so you can see it better. So this is a bird rose. And again, it has curled edges. So we want the edges to stay curled. So again, this is why we are doing this. We're using the Design Master spray. I do one little quick coat. Again, it dries super fast. So I did 1, 2, and then I'll do 3. It's so much easier to spray it because when you dip dye, you really have got to know. I mean, I do metallics because I've been dip dyeing for a long time, but it is pretty hard. It is pretty hard to get a really perfect solid metallic color because you need to use a lot of paint and not a lot of water. No, that's not like the normal. I think mine was about 12, but inflation is really happening, so I wouldn't doubt that. But honestly, this can has lasted me a really long time. So if you think if $27 could do maybe a whole wedding's worth of the ones that you're gonna spray paint, it's not so bad. But yeah, no, I mean, it's not necessarily cheap either, but But also the spray paint, you know, you're not using a lot of paint for that either. So you tend to, you know, not really spend a lot of money on that end. Okay, so I'm gonna do this bright blue. This one is also Rust-Oleum. Again, it doesn't necessarily matter to me what kind it is, but this is Rust-Oleum brand, and I'm gonna do this guy. Again, we're doing it to show you that, you know, spray paint sometimes is a little bit easier for these curled edges, and I'm just gonna spray it. Again, I'm gonna actually show you at the end when the flowers are dry, because spray paint actually dries very fast as well, which is always nice because these flowers are dried in a few minutes. Luann, not as soft, but the Design Master spray does seal them and keeps them flexible. So they're not as soft as if you, were putting them in a glycerin dip, but they're not very, very hard. So obviously you're gonna wanna be wearing gloves when you do yours so that you can really get in there, but I didn't, so I'm spraying my hand. So I'm gonna just let this one dry real fast, and I'm gonna show you the gold one. So quick drying is also a really big perk. As you can see, my gold one is almost dry. So I make sure I don't have blue on my fingers before I touch it and ruin it. So I bet you if I blew on it for 30 seconds, it probably would be dry. I'm hoping it'll be dry in a few minutes for me to show you what it feels like. But I do have this one. Oops. I do have this guy that I did earlier. And as you can see, it's a little crispier, but still flexible enough. And again, oh, I just stuck my arm in the blue after all that. And then, so as you can see, it is a little bit crispier, but not to the point where it's just breaking. See, I can still bend it and stuff, okay? Well, I ran my sleeve through the blue, so hopefully I didn't mess my flower up. My sleeve I don't care about, but I don't want to mess my flower. So as you can see, and spray paints come in so many different colors, you know? But see how tight the curl stayed on? Because when you dip it, the water gets so saturated in there that it tends to cause problems. So, okay, so it's still drying, but we got a nice curled edge, okay? Now I'm gonna do a silver one, just for one last time. Let me pick a different flower. Okay, I'm gonna do an Infinity Rose, okay? So I'm gonna do an Infinity Rose just as my last little sample for you guys. Again, this is for, you know, I use spray paint. I don't use spray paint for normal flowers, but I use spray paint for curled edges because it does really work. But also spray paint is good if you have a lot to do real fast and you don't have a lot of space. You could actually stick them, you know, in the foam and just spray them like crazy. Merlinda, I don't open things up because you're never gonna open the flower up. So you could, but I don't have any gloves on and I've already got blue all up my body here. But you could peel them back, but I don't think it's necessary because the only way you would see white inside is if you peel them back. And I don't need to. So Tammy, we talked about this. You certainly can. Again, if it didn't have curled edges, I would do that. But the point of spray painting curled edge flowers is so that they're not saturated. And so I don't do the curled edge ones with the glycerin spray because again, the whole point of me doing the spray paint for them is that they don't uncurl. And if I did a whole spritz of water and glycerin, I'm probably gonna get all of that uncurling that I would be avoiding by doing the whole process. So how do we move comments to see better? Barb, my phone, I think you swipe to the right. So if you put your fingers on the comments, you can slide them to the right. But you could read the comments for now even, and then when you watch it in a replay, because we'll share this and you could rewatch it, you could swipe them then, and then, you know, you're not hearing people's questions or things. But usually my finger is I just touch the comments and I swipe right. That's how I get rid of them. Okay, we're gonna do an Infinity Rose. I'm gonna do it silver. For the last time, I'm gonna show you guys, I use the Design Master Spray. It is the clear pre-treatment sealer. And I do a quick spritz like that, okay? Also, you're gonna wanna have a ventilated room. I am feeling the fumes right now a little bit. I'm gonna go stick my head out the window in about a second, but when you're doing it, make sure you're not in your kitchen like I am, but obviously I couldn't figure out how to do, it is like 16 degrees outside, so I couldn't do it outside in the dark, in the freezing, but don't spray paint in your kitchen if you don't have to. So even with this, it's very fumey-like, okay? So make sure you either wear a fume mask or have good ventilation. All right, so I'm actually gonna do a glitter blast on this one as well. So I'm gonna do my silver metallic paint. Again, I like the Rust-Oleum metallics because it's super shiny metallics. Okay, I'm gonna spray paint that now. A little bursts. I don't just hold it down until it's done. You can see. And again, I like the metallics because it's super shiny. It makes them look like they're metal, which is really a cool look. Little bursts. I don't peel the petals back because I don't think it's necessary. And I'm going to be high by the end of this video. If I start getting woozy and laughing a lot, then maybe, I don't know, call someone because I might be high by the end of this movie. But I do like how shiny it makes it. Let me see if I can add another coat so that you can see it better. But I don't open up the petals because, again, if the flower looks the way it looks, it doesn't need you to open up the petals because you're going to put it in a bouquet or something. Can you see how shiny silver this is? Let me just do this a little bit. No, that doesn't help. Lights off is kind of better. Okay, then I'm going to use this glitter blast. This is what I always use for when I glitter stuff. This one is called Silver Flash. Catherine, but airbrushing, I don't like airbrushing because you have to clean the machine and it gets very messy and it's wetter. It's wetter than spray paint. So for me, if I'm doing these, I prefer to just use spray paint. But I know a lot of people love to airbrush, but I don't like cleaning the machine every time and it gets clogged all the time for me. So I'm just not an expert at that. But this I can be an expert at because all I have to do is hold the can and spritz. I think airbrushing, you need to really have a little bit better of a grasp of how to do it. Takes a little bit more of an expert, but I don't need to be an expert to squeeze these buttons. But this one is called Diamond Dust. So there's one that's silver and this one is just like a clear shimmers. So I'm gonna add a little bit of this. And this is Silver Glitter. I'm gonna do just one little spritz of the diamond. Now, I don't know if you can see the glitter. Can you see the, oh yeah, you can. It's very glittery in real life, guys, but on there you can see a little bit. Let me see again. Can you see it shimmery now? See it? I mean, all that shine is not wetness. It's actually shimmer. Wait, if I do that real fast just to see it shimmer, look. See how shimmery it is? So if you like glitter, I suggest the Krylon Glitter Blasts. Okay? It comes in the aerosol cans as well. So look, as you can see, the Infinity Rose, nothing uncurled. Again, because we did prime it with that Design Master spray. Again, I'm going to see if there's maybe some other brands we can find. Maybe test some out. And again, yes, don't throw them away. I never throw them away anyway because I always use them as my raw. But spray painting them really does work. I'm going to show you, let's see. It's almost dry. It's not quite dry, but it's almost dry. But look, you can find spray paints even on Amazon in like every color you could think as well. But as you can see, we stayed nice and curled. Let me get my gold one again. I think it's already dry. Yeah, so think about when you dip dye a flower, how it could take 24 hours to 48 hours to be dry enough to even put a stem in. In fact, I usually like to wait 3 days, but look, this is already completely dry. Look, you see my hand is clean? Let me rub it on there, you can see. Nothing came off. It's already dry, super dry. Look guys, still flexible, look. See? Squishy, 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 squishy. And then what the best part obviously is the fact that they have their curled edges all intact, see? Yes, you don't have to use Design Master for the paint color. The Design Master keeps the curled edges. But if you're doing flowers that you're just wanting to spray paint without curled edges, you don't need to spritz it with the Design Master. The Design Master is just what holds your curls in. It's a sealant that makes it like that. So again, this is, we did them solid. Again, this is the shimmery silver. Aroma Rose is my favorite. This is my favorite rose, and this is why I was like, I've got to find a way to keep it curled and to dye them because I love them. I would use Aroma Rose in everything I make. My favorite flower. Ooh, these fumes though are something terrible. And then again, this is a bird rose. Obviously, everybody loves the bird roses too. See how the wetness of it made it open up a little bit. So sometimes when I have a little peek through like that, you can spray paint it, or I just touch a little bit of hot glue in there and I press the petal against it and I just glue that petal tight. So if you do have a spot like that, because I don't like to spread the petals open when I spray paint because then I'm making it in a different shape that I don't necessarily want it. So that is the tutorial. So I know we didn't like make something. I know we didn't make something. But we do get the question a lot about, we do get the question a lot about, can you spray paint these flowers? And you can. So I do suggest the Design Master spray first if you are going to be doing a curled edge. But if you are not, then you can do the water glycerin spritzy spritz thing. But make sure it's dry before you spray paint it, okay? I wouldn't suggest you spray painting over wetness because I don't know what that would do. So I would let them dry if you are going to pre-treat them with that. But for the curled roses, you can use them now with color. So there we go. And that is that, and it's all set. So don't forget our sale is going on lovesolaflowers.com, and then you'll be all set for the 60% off because you don't need a coupon code there. All right, everyone, have a wonderful weekend.